disband. Let me start that over. I can.
Sure, you want to, yeah.
I will. Okay, we'll call ourselves to order and we'll review the agenda. So our public comment is first, followed by approving minutes for May 26th, 2026. The Spear Memorial, MM Spear Library Reuse, present their final committee report. Vote to disband the MM Spear Library Reuse Committee. Request to increase the Lake Wyola Advisory Committee membership from 11 members to 12 members. Appointment of Mary David to the Lake Wyola Advisory Committee. Vote to rescind public records access guidelines for May 23rd, 2023. Discuss Diane Jacoby's request for property boundary survey. Discussion about the plowing of Birch Drive. Review/vote on the revised personnel handbook. Discuss PFAS project, tie-in bonds agreement amendment to renew services, and then Rita Farrell public thank you. And then our town administrator report.
We're gonna make up for all those short meetings.
Right? I think we're going to.
One less meeting.
So why don't we start with public comment? If you are online and zooming into us, please use your raised hand feature. If you are also in the room, please use your raised hand feature.
Yeah.
I want to thank Rita for civic commitment. For 6 years, you've carried concerns of the town's day-to-day responsibility and also for its future. Obviously, you didn't do it for the money. Altruism,
I did it for the gray hair.
altruism and civic caring is at the core of what your volunteer was. Now you get to return to your life, to the people you love, the to-do list that has been put on hold and growing longer, and the attention that you can direct now to your own agenda. And because the town will continue, believe that the town will continue as it has done for 250 years. Count yourself among those who carried it along and enjoy your free time. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Susie.
Thank you, Susan.
You're very nice.
Great, yeah. Anybody else have a public comment that they'd like to? No? Okay. We will move on to approving the minutes for May 26th, 2026.
I make a motion that we approve the minutes of May 26, 2026.
Okay,
Second.
all right. Were there any edits to these in any way that I didn't see any?
I didn't see it either.
Nope.
Brennan, thank you. He's left the room. Oh, he's online. Yeah, thank you, Brennan, for wonderful minutes. All right, all those in favor?
Farrell, aye.
Stalker, aye.
Makepeace O'Neill, aye. Okay. And so the next topic is the MM Spear Library Reuse Committee final committee report. Do you see enough to have the meeting? Is there a quorum of you guys?
We don't have a quorum yet. We need one more person.
Mary Jo's in.
Oh, Mary Jo is in. Oh, okay.
Thank you, Mary Jo.
Mary Jo, great. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and call the call to order the meeting of the MN Spear Library Use Committee. And the agenda for today is there are two things on our agenda. So joint meeting with the select board, obviously. The two things on the agenda are first to approve minutes from May 22nd. And the second item is to go through our final report, and Stephen Dalmas is here to talk about our recommendations, our final recommendations. So the first item is, do I hear a motion to approve the minutes of May 22nd? So moved. There a second?
Second.
Okay, any changes, edits? Anything from anybody in the committee?
I made one change, which was
Okay,
added.
okay, great. All right. If everybody is in agreement, then we'll go ahead and vote on those minutes. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Dalmas, I.
Mosher abstained. Farrell, I.
Get a sign.
There you are. You guys are making me spin around tonight. Okay. Thank you all for coming. So Stephen, do you want me to do a little introduction or do you want to just launch right into the recommendations?
Well, yes, because I'm looking for them on my phone.
Oh,
Haven't
okay.
found them yet.
Okay, all right. So why don't I get started just real quickly and provide an overview of what the committee was charged with doing and then where we got to with our recommendations. So this committee was formed back in September of 2025. We were very ambitious at the outset, thinking that maybe it would only take us 3 or 4 months to come to some conclusions about what should be done with the Spear Library building. And the impetus for doing this is, we have now another town building that's vacant. And it's very prominent. It sits on our town common. It's a historic property. And I think there was a lot of interest both in town and certainly from the select board in thinking through, well, what do we do? It's an issue because our insurance company wants continuous use of properties, so that in order to keep up with our property insurance, we need to be using that building in some way. Now, obviously, with the old town hall, we use it for storage, and there are people who are routinely, kind of in and out of there. Right now, the Spear building is empty, and so so this committee, which was made up of myself, Stephen Dalmas, Susie Mosher, Henry Geddes, Paul Lyons, and Mary Jo Johnson, met. I think Henry might have come in like after the first couple of meetings, but he joined us a little bit later. But the committee met 16 times over the course of the last 8 months. So it probably took us twice as long as we thought it was going to. But these were very full meetings, really great discussions that we had, and kind of, uncovered a lot of it covered a lot of questions, and we researched to the best of our ability kind of what the options are. In the course of doing our work, we did a survey of all town departments and boards and committees, actually 2 different survey forms, to get some feedback about what town employees and boards and committees, what kind of space and meeting needs do they have, and storage needs, so that it gave us a lot of really good information that we felt we could bring back to the select board to make some final decisions or take a few more steps. We had one joint meeting with the select board back a couple of months ago where the public was invited, and we had comments at that time, which we took into account as we put together this final report. Also, in the process of doing our research, we were very fortunate in getting some good professional advice for free. Stephen and Paul Lyons kind of took the lead in speaking with outside consultants, and Susie Mosher also in just engaging with folks who could help provide some information for us as we were trying to come up with our recommendations. So very quickly, the work we undertook was we did a municipal needs assessment. We actually did a conceptual plan because in the course of our research and thinking through what the best uses were for the Spear Library building, we also felt it was appropriate to take a look at this building. And this, I think, there was a space committee back a number of years ago. We felt that it was incumbent upon us to, when we started thinking through the complications of that building and water and sewer and all of that, we do have this property. So we kind of added that. We expanded our scope a little bit and did with Stephen's help, and I think it was Russ Wilson helped, do some very preliminary conceptual site or plans if we were to make some changes here. We got obviously the input of Shutesbury boards and committees, and we did a very preliminary, and I make the emphasis on preliminary because we don't have any solid numbers, but we have very rough numbers about what it would take. And then, as I said, engaged and got some advice. Did not engage, but got some professional advice from the outside. So that's kind of the background. What this report includes are the survey forms we used, the summary of the results, the questionnaire results. It has a sketch on here of, potential if we were to reconfigure this downstairs space, which would really, mean some reconfiguration upstairs too, as space was maybe freed up upstairs. And then there are naturally some very interesting questions about the town common and legal implications for doing anything on the town common. So the last addendum is an email that we got from Donna McNichol, who was guiding us, because just within the last, 2 or 3 years, there was some legislation passed which made doing things on public land kind of made it a little bit more complex. And again, the little Spear building sits on the town common, as does the church sit on the town common. And so that needs to be taken into account. And the town common is, falls as something called Article 97, I believe. So Stephen, I hope I didn't steal any of your thunder here, but if you want to go through the recommendations, that would be great.
Very detailed, Rita. Thank you.
I will do that, but as Rita just said, the Article 97, which was something that we became familiar with towards the end, made us realize that it's a pretty complicated process to make any kind of changes to the town common. And having read through the document, Article 97, fairly closely, it seems that if we had attempted to consider, or if we attempt to consider a non-municipal use, that would be very difficult, if at all possible, to achieve. So that's another reason why we didn't consider any non-municipal uses. So I'll just go to the conclusion. Rita really laid the groundwork. So we didn't reach any true final conclusions about what should be done with the Spear, because we felt the decision is up to the select board and the townspeople. However, we collected significant amounts of information that should be helpful. An important consideration in deciding on the future use of the Spear building is whether or not the town has the resources and the will to make a significant investment in the building. Even without such an investment, the Spear could still be used as a basic meeting and/or record storage space, thus satisfying the continuous use requirements for insurance purposes. Some improvements would still be needed to make the building suitable for such uses, but this option would be the least expensive of those considered. A more substantial investment, that is, by adding a functional bathroom, would greatly expand the possible uses of the building, for instance, as office spaces or a police station. This would require hooking up the building to water and waste disposal systems, adding bathrooms, and various interior renovations. It would also likely trigger a need to comply with state building code requirements that the meeting storage space option would be lost. So the library, the MN Spear building, is considered a meeting space. As long as it continues to be a meeting space, there's no code requirements for any changes. But once there's a change of use, then the code falls into play, and we probably need an architect to create plans and determine some of the code requirements, and then it would go before code review. The cost of such improvements depends on a number of variables, but could exceed $100,000. We have provided additional information on the needs and implications of these, and an additional town hall renovation option in Matrix Addendum E. The matrix highlights a range of options for the Spear building, from leaving it essentially as is, with some minor upgrades, to a more substantial rehabilitations if it were to become a police station. The last option of the matrix addresses a reorganization of the town hall to accommodate a police station on the lower level of the building. That option could save the town some money if it was considered unfeasible at the present time to install a well and septic system on the town common due to the procedural complexity and the higher initial cost. In summary, the committee's opinion is that the addition of a functioning bathroom at the former Spear building greatly enhances the potential options for its future uses. However, some professional consulting services would be needed to assess the feasibility and the cost of adding a bathroom. The committee recommends that the select board proceed with securing those services. Thank you.
Thanks, Stephen.
Stephen. Thank you, Steve. Okay, that was all
So question.
very great. Yeah, I don't have any questions. I see where we're going with the bathroom. I think that's a pretty solid recommendation.
And I think we went through, Stephen had referenced
Yeah.
the chart, although I'm not sure, is it in here?
I don't think I saw mine.
Is it, I'm sorry, Susie, it's Addendum E. And that
Thank you.
really does lay out, and I think it makes it easier for the select board to kind of,
Yeah.
see what the options are. There are lots of footnotes. Susie organized this with help from Paul, maybe. Yeah, or Susie mostly did it. And it's really, and the committee, went through kind of all of these different sections. And so, yeah, I think what we finally arrived at after much discussion about options was saying it really is worth making an investment in looking to somebody, to sanitary engineer, to really begin to pin down, could we put a septic system, a tight tank, probably would mean a new well on the site. And there has to be some site investigation in order to kind of come up with those cost estimates. My opinion, and I think I speak for the committee, was that it's a good investment, so that, we're not kind of languishing here for years, trying to think about what we're doing with the building, and having a bathroom in there just makes it a much more useful space for meetings, or if we're going to put some offices over there. It doesn't mean we're obviously going to do it. There might be issues with, even trying to put a tight tank over there, given space and the distance, you have to have between a well and a septic system. But it seems like it's a good investment to do that investigation. And as I said, we had talked to a couple of people. So there are definitely folks
Numbers.
out there who, could give us an estimate on what that exploration would take. I think the committee felt like that we had wound up our work and that we certainly would be happy to, any one of us, for Henry especially, come back to, come back to other, another meeting if there were questions about, about the report, but that as a committee, we had completed our charge and
then some, I think you
And then
guys did
some.
really well.
Yeah. Yeah, and I didn't do this at the outset, but I just want to say this was a really wonderful group of people to work with. Everybody showed up, everybody contributed, everybody, took assignments home after meetings and kind of came back to the group at the next meeting to report back. So it was a real pleasure to work with all of the folks on the committee. And Brennan deserves some recognition here too, because he kept me on track of making sure things got, the meeting announcements got out. He took all the minutes. He was every meeting we walked into, we had our material there in front of us. It was such a pleasure. And thank you, Brennan, for being so attentive and doing such a phenomenal job doing minutes for us.
That's great to hear. Thank you, Brennan.
Thank you,
So
Rita.
So what's your sense of how we make that step? I mean, the select board's not gonna be out there picking people.
Well, I think the next,
On the building committee or?
yeah, I mean, I think the select board needs to discuss that, who would do an engagement.
The next charge, right?
And it could be done through the town administrator's office, quite frankly. I don't know, or to discuss it with the buildings committee, but it's really putting together a scope of services for a sanitary engineer. And I think we had some, we have within our minutes and our notes kind of what that would be. So getting some cost estimates together and then finding the funds to do it. I don't think it was a huge amount of money, if I remember correctly, but without spending some money
Thank you.
now, we're
Yeah.
just going to be left with kind of these questions. And any building, even without water and sewer, any building just sitting empty is not a good thing. So it was really, makes sense for us to figure some stuff out. We need somebody to go in there on a regular basis just to make sure chipmunks haven't moved in or, whatever.
Or bunny.
That the roof is
Still no bathroom.
still no bathroom, that the roof isn't leaking. And I will say, I think Paul and Stephen went and did some minor repairs on that building. There was a window that was broken downstairs. We have a non-functioning composting toilet over there. We talked a lot about septic. It's one of our,
I thought you might.
one of our favorite topics, but it would be good to keep this moving. I look to one of our neighboring communities, which shall be not named tonight, but they've spent years literally trying to decide what to do with their old library building, and the building just still sits there. This is a very visible property.
It is.
Beautiful property.
It is.
And I think it just makes sense to kind of keep moving. And, the committee needs to come back together at some point or,
We know where you are.
yeah, where we are.
No, I think that's enough. I think that's a great idea. I think we should probably have this maybe as an ongoing topic on our. Let us and Jim kind of come in and bring his thoughts into it and see what our next steps are. But you're
Yeah,
right, Rita,
we should
not
keep
let
it
it
going.
sit.
Yep.
Not let it sit for too long. For that insurance reason, but also an unattended building is
Yes,
typically
not a
deteriorating.
good idea.
Yeah.
So our last recommendation was to vote that you vote to disband us, the select board. But because you formed the committee, so it would be the,
Yes. So
I'll make the motion.
how do we, how do we feel about disbanding?
Make the motion and I'll second it, I promise.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we disband the Emmons Spear Library Reuse Committee.
Okay, any questions or last moment thoughts? No, okay, all those in favor?
Farrell, I.
Stalker, aye.
Make peace, aye. Make peace, O'Neill, aye.
Aye.
Okay, Brandon, can you do our normal thing we do for committee members?
Yeah, certainly.
Thank you. Okay, so the next one is to request an increase on the Lake Wyola Advisory Committee membership from 11 members to 12 members. Do you want to fill us in, Haley?
Yeah, so that came up at the last select board meeting. So after that, you know, I did spend some time looking through, because I think the main question that I walked away with was, had there ever been a formal vote to increase to 12? And what do you do with a 35-year-old ad hoc committee? And that's what I walked away thinking. So what I have proposed to you all is that you would actually disband the LWAC as it stands now, and that you would instead create a permanent standing committee. And that way you can move away from this ad hoc designation. We can formalize, you know, what we want the committee to do, and look at the membership structure, which was really important. So I'll just walk you through. So the purpose that I have here, and we can obviously change things or add them. I can also take whatever we decide here and come back to the next meeting with revisions. But basically it's serving kind of as a steward for the Lake Wyola area, for the environment, for recreation, for, you know, it's a fiscal resource for the town that we could perhaps be utilizing in a different way. It also serves as a, you know, community hub. So basically there's two main scopes, areas of scope, three really. You know, infrastructure and safety. So the dam, the culverts, the watershed structure, and, you know, environmental and water quality monitoring. So making sure that we are working with the Conservation Commission and the Board of Health, and then also public education. And that can encompass a great deal of things, but, you know, talking to folks about water runoff and storm erosion and, you know, boating safety and all those sorts of things. Could be within the scope of a formal standing committee. And I actually have a typo. It should say that there are 9 voting members. So in my proposal, we have the staff be ex officio members, which is true of all other committees. So in that case, it would be the dam keeper, and the emergency management director, and what I've kind of called a resident technical expert. You know, somebody who has familiarity with the dam or some other feature. So those would be non-voting members. And then your voting member seats would comprise of select board representative, planning board, conservation commission, board of health. And then also we want to look at the community, sorry. So I had conceived of this idea where there would be 3 residents or property owners within the watershed area to kind of represent those specific interests, and then 1 at-large community member. So somebody who maybe didn't live at the lake, but maybe they love the lake and they wanted to get involved in the committee. And so I think the other thing that has kind of come up, and I had talked to some other town administrators, and just making sure that we're really cognizant of conflict of interest. And, you know, is it, you know, if you have members who have a joint seat on, you know, a private nonprofit board and a municipal committee, you know, it used to be the case from what I've learned and talking to colleagues is that, you know, years ago, the thought was, well, they're in the nonprofit sector, so it's okay. Like there's not going to be any conflict, but that thinking has really changed a lot within the last 25 years. So just putting in some stipulations that, you know, a private entity could not designate its own members, that would be the sole purview of the select board, that you would be the ones to choose and appoint.
Like we have for other committees.
Like you have for other committees, and that we would follow our new standard procedure, which is that we ask people to fill out an application and we do some interviews and then we make some recommendations and then we decide. So that in a nutshell is what I am proposing instead of looking at the membership increase is just, let's kind of wipe the slate and start the foundation of something more permanent, which I think would ultimately be in the best interest of the town.
It seems to me it's a potentially good idea, but what about in the meantime? In other words, let's say we're not gonna kill a committee tonight and just LWAC never meets again until we figure this out in a permanent way.
You could do that,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
or
but-
you could say, maybe they can meet again
Yeah.
while we take applications. But I don't think that you want to let it languish for much longer as this like ad hoc thing. Which is still,
Which looking at the charge too, right? Like.
Yeah.
The charge was outdated. You and I had talked about that.
yeah,
It was
um,
outdated.
and I think too, like, just because even if a committee is ad hoc, it still has to follow all applicable mass general laws. So ad hoc is still like a designation, but it doesn't mean that they wouldn't have to go through all those steps anyway, just to make sure I say that.
So can you just run through, so
Mhm.
there are nine, you said 9 voting
9
members?
voting members.
Okay, and those are
Those would
the
be town-
town board
Mhm.
or
And,
2 town operational?
no, it would be 3, and then 4 residents, and then I'd actually like to make another addition to the town, which would be have someone from the recreation committee. So you would have town board representatives be 5 seats and community members be 4 seats. And then your technical.
You said rec committee?
Yeah. I think that makes a lot of sense.
I'm not sure that the numbers don't seem to be adding up for
So if the town board reps.
Yeah.
To 5 at that point, and then
5.
4 seats from the community residents.
That would be
3
9.
seats for the operation technical would be
Mhm.
ex officio.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
Right,
all right.
so that would be then our emergency management director had to be police chief. and
Mhm.
Right, so
That would.
Yes.
And-
Today's 4, okay, and 5. Okay, got it.
Oh, yeah.
Got it. Thank you.
And this certainly doesn't preclude, once we start this process, for anyone who's sitting on the committee now to apply.
No, it's
Right.
absolutely
Yeah.
welcome to continue to do that.
So is there a meeting this month? Was that my recollection?
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
another on the 20th.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like we could make this effective, after we could vote, we could make the effective date July 1st or something to kind of make it clean in terms of, how
The
appointments
existing-
will get done. Obviously, we don't have a lot of time between now and July 1st to make appointments, but could be done pretty quickly.
We could do it. I think we could.
I think you could. I think
Yeah.
there would be a lot of interest.
I mean,
A lot of people already.
Committee's pretty. quick.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I think that's great. I mean, ad hoc it just doesn't make any sense.
Well, it did when it first started 35.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
right, right now, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think having an updated purpose and mission and scope is really important.
Too. I agree. So do I hear a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we adopt the Lake Wyola Advisory Committee recommendations as presented this evening with the changes that we talked about, making it nine voting members, and to make this committee effective or in place by July 1st, 2026.
I hear a second.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Farrell, I.
Start,
Has their hand up.
Make peace, O'Neill. All right. Before I get to Tracy, I have one question. In the budget, was there any money labeled for LWAC, although we're not changing this?
Yes,
Do
there
we
is
have
for
to?
water testing.
Do we have to do anything related since we've just sort of changed this and we don't?
Don't believe.
Okay, just check with anyone who we may have to. Dot. Tracy.
Hi, thank you. Thank you for recognizing me, Melissa. I just wanted to throw out there, and I did just forward it to Haley, but it's a little late because I didn't realize this was going to come up tonight. But there's an outline of municipal obligations to a great pond. And I thought that might be a good guideline for creating the mission statement. And already most of that is in what Haley just presented anyway. And I was really glad to hear that the rec piece was added too, because that is part of it. So I thought that would, just might be a solid guide, and then it would be easy to create objectives from there.
Thank you.
I can forward it actually to the select board too. I just forwarded it to Haley.
Haley can do it. Yeah, Haley can do
Okay.
that. That way you don't have to worry about, open meeting law and all that stuff for us.
Oh, right. Okay. All right.
She's, yeah. Okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome. All right. Fine. So the next, thing is to appoint Mary David to the LWAC Committee Advisory Committee. I think I'm just,
Yeah.
we're gonna pass over.
Pass on that, yeah.
So the next one is to vote to rescind the public records access guidelines from May 23rd, 2023.
I think it's really important to say we're not doing away with public records requests. We're just handling an outdated policy. Guidance changes all the time. And I think too, and Gail, you can always correct me if I'm wrong, but we had looked at the town clerk webpage and how could we make it easier to follow along with and make things clearer for the public so that they know how to do things. And then you can see in these guidelines that we still have former staff listed for key positions. The hours are not correct. So this would just get rid of the old, and then we can update and put in fresh information that's more consistent with current law.
Thank you, Gail, for your eagle eye on these. Okay, so we just need to vote to rescind. So are there any questions or discussions first before we? Read us? No. But, okay. Do I hear a motion to rescind the public records access guidelines voted by the select board on May 23rd, 2023 for reasons Haley just presented?
So moved.
Second,
All right, all those in favor?
Carol, I.
Stocker, aye.
Make O'Neill like it. Okay. The next item is to discuss Diane Jacoby's request for a property boundary survey.
Yes.
You want to start and I'll fill in
Yes.
what I know, and we definitely, Diane can help us too.
And definitely feel free to correct me. So this came to us, Diane was missing some property markers and the property above the school. So, the request was, could we kind of split the difference and get a property survey to identify what the boundaries are?
Well, no, it's just the microphone.
And so that's what's before you today is is the town interested in pursuing this? And yeah, I think it's just pretty straightforward.
Perfect. Diane, do you want to, you can come forward if you'd like. You don't have to speak.
Okay.
You can come up too.
This pin was never there when we bought the place in 1999. This pin, I can't find it. It may or may not be there. The rest of the pins, we've all managed to find them, including with a couple of my good neighbors up here. Can I walk around your backyard and find a pin? Well, of course. So there's 2 pins that are gone.
So
Are there-
you're saying hire a surveyor to find
Well,
those.
a licensed surveyor must set this pin.
Right,
Every lawyer in Massachusetts has taught me that.
right.
And I don't know the status of this pin. It may be missing, it may still be there.
The
I don't know.
topography of that piece has changed. The upper gym yard, or whatever they call it, playground area, everything is kind of flown. We have no idea where those pins are, even from the beginning.
And you were gonna reschedule a meeting with the Conservation Commission, right? I think.
I have been responding to their emails, but apparently my response has been going to Diane.
I believe
It's okay.
he meant to do a reply all, but instead he did a reply and it
Yeah.
landed back in my email box.
And then I'm wondering,
I think
Where
all
did
of,
that go?
I think all of us have messed up with email in the.
Yes.
Yeah. I had $1 for every time. Okay, so, so the request is, to the help to find the boundary markers. They
Set this boundary marker and to help locate this one. And if indeed it is missing, that one also needs to be set.
Do we have a sense of what that would cost? Any sense of what that would cost? I have no idea.
I have not contacted a land surveyor in about 15 years.
All
I
right.
think the last time I remember it, and I don't remember how long this was, it was 600-ish, but I don't remember. I don't know that it included setting pins or, I don't know if that's an additional fee. But that was several years ago, not 15 though,
And yeah,
kind of the ballpark, kind of.
this trapezoid with a tail is the school.
Say that again. This is the school.
This is the school property.
your
Well, no, I
property?
shouldn't say the school property. It is the town of Shutesbury.
Right.
Which allows
Schools, the schools,
to
yeah.
be there.
And where is yours? Diane?
Ours is
Here, goes all the way back.
this that goes all the way back.
Yep.
right,
And this is the house that Bruno Matarazzo, the former Bruno Matarazzo owned. And then this area over here is Dennis Clark. And believe it or not, between Billy and Dennis and their helpers, we were able to find all of these pins.
Wow.
A whole bunch of us didn't know where any of them were.
Right.
And the reason for doing the survey now and getting the pins placed, is there some? compelling-
there's another problem that's coming up. That are probably gonna be impacted by where one of those pins are is the town is coming to look at the erosion. And a lot of that erosion, depending on where the pin is, might be on the town's own property. But a lot of it is, so exactly where that erosion
Right.
or these start. Me,
So you're saying that there's erosion from this property that you think is impacting your
There's,
property?
the school has this wonderful expression for a brook that kind of flows behind the school. And, you know, the oil spill impacted
yeah,
the
that,
brook.
that,
And some of that brook is on our property. But it's a little hard to figure out without this pin, whether, you know, there's more of the brook here, whether it's impossible to know exactly where anything is.
and because of all the changes with the school over the year. This little brook that had like this 8-inch at the most pipe coming off and is now a raging stream whenever there's a storm.
Big storm.
And that's because of all the paving and the changes in the upper road, everything is impacted. And Clark has ended up with a whole bunch of our beautiful soil down there. He hasn't said anything, and I don't know why. You know?
Yeah, it changed a lot when the upper field was improved. That sort
But
of
it's more than that, you know,
deproved
it's
some of our stuff.
a whole bunch of stuff there's a lot more water that comes down when it comes down.
Yeah.
When it's calm like it used to be, it's still only a little brook, but boy, when it's not.
Yeah.
Okay, so we didn't check with Donna what we could legally do.
And we don't know how much it is. So,
And we.
I think there are two.
Yes, so there's.
There are two.
We have to ask, we have to ask
Yes.
Donna first, if there's anything that prevents us from that.
Mhm.
And then how much it is.
Right.
So maybe contact a couple of
Yeah, so get surveys.
surveyors,
Yep.
yeah. can't think of them. Hurry up. If I do, I'll send them to you.
Even if I have the deed from legitimately well.
Yeah.
There's that guy, Hadley, Harold Eaton, or there used
So
to.
that's the one I was.
Used to
thinking
be
of.
right.
I think Harold Eaton is on one of
I
the.
would,
Is Harold Eaton still in business?
oh, yeah,
Yeah.
still in business.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
let's put it this way, the successors of Harold Eaton are.
Yeah.
Well, maybe, who knows, I don't know what.
So why don't we check on those two
Yeah,
things?
Yeah, and then we'll figure.
And then you can figure
Any
it out
other
at
answers?
the
Yeah.
next meeting.
So,
Figure on next.
Call you up.
town so town take the lead for now and get the
Yeah.
estimates?
Get some estimates and just know what we can, what Donna, if there's any restrictions that we don't know off the top of our head, there's a lot of.
Yeah.
We've discovered
Yep.
there's many,
Cost sharing can be not as straightforward as.
not as straightforward, but also there's a lot of restrictions for. Things, so,
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds reasonable.
good,
Yeah.
and, we'll make sure when we email you both.
Yeah. And Haley has all of this, Diane,
Yeah.
like that.
The Shutesbury Assessor's Office has it.
Yeah, we have access. Great.
And it's online.
I know, is that nice?
These are
Yeah.
all public documents.
Yeah. Okay, great.
Perfect.
That makes sense, that's good.
That feel,
Yeah, and
Start-
you're gonna return by email?
we'll make sure you're.
Yes.
Please put both of us.
Yes.
And.
Pony Express.
Nice to teach him how to reply.
I had no idea that that's what was going. They didn't respond again.
I know.
And I looked at.
You know those people.
I yelled at everybody, and I shouldn't have, I should yell.
Right.
Well,
It happens.
Apology accepted.
It happens.
it happens.
Thanks a lot.
So the next one, we are going to move on to the discussion about plowing Birch Drive. This was brought to Haley, you've been certainly in the mix of this for us, and do you want to run down a brief history, or I can take a stab at it and then?
I think it's long and it's a complicated situation and it has required a lot of digging into policy decisions and what may or may not have happened in years past. Included in this packet, you'll find that there's policy as it stands right now. Question really was whether or not the town. Well, the person that's making the request lives beyond designated cutoff point for plowing on that road. And, but they still are requesting that service and obviously, this winter showed us that it's, winter has gone away and it can be very difficult. And, and it also gets into, I think, a little bit more complicating layers. Can you consider that Lake Viola Association is the owner of the road, so it's not resident of the roads. There's, there's a lot.
There has been, and I think we told the select board, but you, me, Dave, Mary Jo, might have been someone else there as well, went down to look at it, although it was snowy and icy that day, so we couldn't see exactly where the, the dirt, we could see where the ice and it had been, driven over and such, and did some measurements that day too, so it's been assessed in a winter, situation. So I think the request, to us is, do we go forward and, plow from the telephone pole after that first telephone pole or the first knoll? It's referred to both as first telephone pole or the telephone pole and the first knoll. One and the same, I think. And do we do that? That is the request in front of us. Do you or Rita, Eric, have any questions? I don't know how much you know or have followed or.
Well, one question I have is that there's been a lot of talk about that, it has been plowed for year after year after year and so forth. And then I was looking at I've done a lot of thinking about this and was looking at a letter that Steve Sullivan, the former superintendent and worked employee of the town for a long time before that, as the highway department. He said he never plowed that road. It was never plowed, never sanded, never treated. So he was treated. That's just inconsistent with the sense that it's always been happening. So I'm just a little unclear that's the question I have as much as that, but as anything else.
Well, and the other thing too that I thought of too, this kind of brought to my, I'm sorry, Rita, I didn't want to butt in.
No, go ahead.
Brought to my, my mind is that, and I don't know Steve or Tim's, practice with this bylaw on the private roads, but we've been just talking about this one location and the resident has, brought this to us. But these roads had not been assessed that I know of, in a way of, are they in bad disrepair? Do they need these repairs? What condition are they at from the highway, and contractor point of view?
I could be wrong, but I think they have been assessed.
Well, they may have, but I'm not sure has Dave in his current position done it, in a way that follows this? We don't know. Right, and so
The last couple of years, because I happen to live on a private road,
Okay.
we have not been.
thank you.
So what would it typically happen is in September, October, there would be a letter coming out from the highway superintendent saying, if we are to continue plowing and sanding your road, here are the improvements that need to be made. And then there'd be a list of the roads and some detailing of what needed to be done. So that, no, I don't believe that there's really been an assessment. I think given the amount of construction and the number of now year-round residents, particularly at the lake, that a whole kind of review of the private roads and what sort of standards are we going to continue to plow and sand them? If so, what kind of standards so that there's another look and what kind of schedule, making sure that review does happen. Because I know for the equipment that we have enough dirt roads in town that it's very hard on the equipment. And then now if we have private roads, particularly ones that are might need equipment other than what our highway department has. So what we've done, I don't know when it started, and we've been subcontracting out the
For years.
Yeah, the
Long
lake
time.
roads. But yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense to just revisit the policy and then come up with, standards that everybody the select board can agree to. And the highway superintendent, that, it takes, maybe some more discussion with the Lake Wyola folks, because my understanding is that not everybody pays their dues down at the lake, and the dues are what goes into, helps to come up with the money to fix up the road. So it's inconsistent. And yeah, some people are doing it on their own. Some homeowners down there are doing it on their own, but I think everybody needs to understand that if we're going to continue to do that, the roads need to be in a condition, and we need to be clear about, what roads are getting plowed and sanded. Or just say we're not doing it anymore, which I'd be very sad about, but I know that came up with our insurance company. But it should be revisited, and now's the time to do it before the onset of winter.
And when you can see things, right? Like when we
Yes.
discussed it, we could only see so much because there was snowbanks and there was, it was already down there. And I do like that proposal, Rita, and I think that's important, not just one assessment, but the whole thing. right? Like it's not,
Yeah.
this isn't just one
No,
place that's doing it. And, there is the chance that the contractor was doing it and was doing it beyond what they were told.
right.
For years. And so, I think, why don't we, if you think so, Eric, if you're amenable to that, what Rita had said, why don't we look at it as a larger, have the roads assessed as a larger, the Lake Association owns the roads, and give that information to the owners and.
Yeah, and I think the town needs to be clear about what its expectations are
Yeah.
for what the association does to the roads in order to continue the plowing.
It is a significant, and one thing that, it is a significant piece of our plowing budget that does do this. We want to make sure.
And it's hard. That's,
And it's,
that's,
yes,
those are tough.
they're narrow
Yep.
spaces.
What I'm hearing is we definitely want to start the process earlier.
Yeah.
I think that, I think the thing with the insurance is that they have recommended that we do not plow any private roads because the liability has increased so drastically in the number of claims that they see. But maybe there's a way to build in some stronger language that would help the town with the liability piece, because there are a number of people who rely on this service.
There's some sort of waiver, right? A waiver that a homeowner
Yes.
sign, right?
Donovan for that
Or the
question.
or the owners.
Sorry. Eric?
Bring Donna, Donna
Yeah,
is gonna know what's possible, what isn't.
And then it sounds like, like I said, the policy has a break off point on the road that we're, Birch Drive.
Right.
We could certainly look at what it might take for LWA to make that a completely plowable road. But, again, if we're gonna look at the policy, we can look at all those sorts of things, but I think you're right, it needs to be assessed. It hasn't been. Should have been, it has. That's gotta happen. That's soon.
So I think that maybe that's the place to start, and then that's the first step, and then see what comes out of the assessment.
Mhm.
See what comes out of, if the insurance company is willing to give you like a list of what those payouts or claims were for them.
I can-
That might be helpful in
In
writing a
knowing,
bylaw.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like if these things are,
Right.
and we should probably let the League Association know that we're going on with this step.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good to just have everyone be on the same page.
Make a full assessment of that. Did you have any other, Eric? What do you think?
Well, I guess I'm just trying to figure out, can we realistically solve this problem before next winter?
I think so. We have 6 months.
Well,
Right.
no problem.
I don't know if we could start the assessment process around the lake.
Shortly, yeah.
Right.
Now would be a good,
Roads would be as
Yeah.
difficult.
right. I guess we could talk to Dave too about what he is actually already expecting, right? I mean, I have a map here of all the places that theoretically are supposed to be inspected. And
Well, they're listed in the policy, all the roads.
yes, that's
What
right.
does that mean when you say they were inspected, but
Well,
they're,
those are the ones he's
Yeah.
supposed to look at.
those are the
Right.
ones that he's supposed to look at to say, fix, like you're saying, fix this, fix that, don't
Right.
pick, and whatever.
This tree,
where did this document come from?
This is from Tim Hunting. That's Tim Hunting's right there.
Okay.
Must be the
Okay.
one down the highway.
Yeah, I think it's the same one.
Okay,
Oh, that says sand, the red or the sand ones.
Yeah,
but it doesn't talk about condition. Does it? It's just showing where sanding is happening, but it doesn't talk about road condition, which is what.
No,
we're-
but in order to do the sanding, the road has to be at a certain level of theoretically.
I think that's just based off of the grade they
Yeah.
identified.
I don't know that really,
Well, that's one of the issues with all this, yeah.
And are they wide enough, right? Because that's the other thing.
Yes.
Like the plow truck, even the one the contractor uses is not a small pickup, right? It's not like it's a larger vehicle with a sand deck on the back. So
Yeah, yeah. I mean, in any case, in terms of what's theoretically inspected, it does not include the piece of Birch Drive that we're talking about.
Right, and everything we have, it says, to the first knoll or to the
Right, exactly.
telephone pole.
So, oh, so that wasn't on.
Yeah, there's that line right there. That,
Oh, I see. Okay. Yep. Okay.
So everything that we had documented says that.
Yep. Okay.
So why don't we start there?
Mhm.
And then we can go from there. Now, I did suggest that they just let you guys know that a select board member ride around with him, just to kind of see what he's doing, kind of what they're looking at. So there's an I offered to do that and that, ride around. You know, just to get a picture for what he's looking at from his point of view.
right. I mean, I think if we set the standard the same as like town roads, probably nothing will pass that's down there. That's my guess. That's whatever it
Oh,
is.
you mean like the town dirt roads?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, well, there's yeah, not many private roads that put that.
right.
So, which is probably why there is this, or well, not probably, I shouldn't say that, this is why this was come up with, right?
Right.
There is a different, and any input Donna could give, she may not be able to give until we've gone through that assessment and done our list of repairs and such, so, but whenever we have to bring her in. I don't think, we don't have to vote on that. That's just kind of our guidance, right? We don't need to vote on anything. So,
I think so.
all right. All right, so the next thing and long awaited was the new personnel book. And I have to give Haley a huge thank you because this was a project I was trying to get done and all the other stuff that we were trying to do on select board. And so thank you for producing this document.
You've
Awesome.
raised their hand though,
Oh,
at first.
I'm gonna take Roger. Roger? Where are you? I moved on without seeing your hand. Go ahead.
His mic is on.
Yeah. Does it show unmuted?
No, I mean, his mic is on. It doesn't have the icon that it's not.
Roger, can you hear us?
Check 1, 2. Can you hear me now?
We can hear you now. That took just a delay.
I was wondering if we could respond on that last topic.
Yeah, we can take some public comment.
Okay, yes. So I've been Ron's neighbor for about 10 years now because he had an issue with his driveway specifically. And it wasn't plowed at all last year. And one of the big issues is he's getting older. I think we all know this. And his driveway is fairly steep and he was snow blowing it. He snow blew it quite a few times, and it's pretty dangerous because if you were to walk down it without it being sanded, you probably wouldn't make it. So I just wanted to speak up and say, it's not just a thing of, we need to make sure all the roads are, viewed the same. There's, he's getting older, and it's going to be harder for him to snow blow the driveway. And I'm not even sure if that part is his driveway or somebody's saying it was his driveway. But I'm sure he can chime in on that. But that's all I have to say about that.
Thank you, Roger.
Can I say something?
Sure.
I'm glad that we're referring to it as a road because that's the foundational point of the town's determination. There are multiple sources of railroad, so it is a road, so that's a step in the right direction. I'll make the point that you said you have no documents about the end of Birch Drive. I have in the copy of this, I have a letter dated September 2nd, 2009 by Captain Torres, and three separate letters. It used to be letters were sent to all residents of Lake Royal about what roads had to be dealt with. At some point, it changed over to one letter being sent to LWA, as I understand it. On these three copies that I have, Birch Drive is listed, period. No Birch Drive, no, nothing about a telephone pole. This one, Birch Drive is rutted, could use some grading. This one, Birch Drive, okay. This one, Birch Drive, okay. So my question is, the assessment that was done, that led to the determination was done 2 months after the plowing was stopped, without notification or warning or explanation that my calls to DPW were not returned, and which is why I ended up talking to the town administrator. But the thing that's been, and I said from the very beginning, this has been characterized as an issue between me and the town. It's between the town and Lake Wyola Association. They own the road, not me. I just happen to live on the road. But my point would be, why does the plowing stop before the assessment was ever done? So the assessment then became a retroactive justification for stopping plowing. So I like what you're saying about all the roads down there. That's a good approach. It's appropriate. And I can guarantee you, and anyone who lives down there will tell you there are worse spots in Birch Drive that are being plowed. So if you're going to assess all the roads, why are you not stopping plowing them too? And only just the lower end of Birch Drive. So I petitioning to renew what's been going on for 36 years, and like 300 times it's been plowed with no damage to any trucks or any problems that I ever heard of. And in fact, Birch Drive in many ways is one of the best to plow, because the end of it is 50 feet wide by 100 feet long. And all from all of Birch Drive was deposited right down at the end of that road. So it's actually a much worse situation for all of Birch Drive, aside from the part that's not being plowed, because there is no place to put the snow.
Was it sanded too during that time?
At times it was sanded, and I gave up on that, and I've been out there.
Sometimes
I have
sanded.
injured myself 2 times this year, re-injured myself out there on my own trying to deal with this situation. In addition to, they've been plowing in the drainage, causing in the spring, before the snow melts, to wash the road out. So I'm asking why you're taking the appropriate step to reevaluate the whole thing. Wherever it ends up, if you change the policy, that's a whole different story. But the town policy states these roads would be plowed, and it's backed up by mass law that the town is liable to for the standard blueprint of it's called. Once agreed to, that they have to do it, and Lake Wyola has to step up to do their end. So to me, it's an issue between the town and Lake Wyola Association, essentially, that I'm caught in the middle of, and it feels very unfair that I'm being singled out on it.
I think that's why the select board wants to bring it back to that larger group of the
Yeah.
whole road. The whole road, all of them, right?
So I'm
So
saying that if you are surmising that there are other issues there, why is this the only place where you're not plowing? Why not say, we'll continue plowing until this assessment is done, and now Birch Drive becomes one of many in the assessment instead of singled out for some reason. And I don't know the reason. It just happened.
We're revisiting the whole policy.
yeah, it brought to light.
Why would we say now that we're going to continue to plow it if the whole needs to be assessed? Well, all of those roads need to be assessed down there.
Because you're only singling out the end of Birch Drive.
But because you're the only one that raised it, but other people might
I'm not the only one.
have raised it. No, I meant for Birch Drive, but there might be issues. Yeah.
Birch Drive.
Yeah, no, I didn't mean for Birch Drive, but I mean for
And for
other other private roads or other roads down there. I think, we can't take it in isolation. We're in June, we have time before the winter starts to kind of get a clear policy, and I think that's what this board is.
I think that's the right approach to take.
Yeah.
And to make sure everybody it's done in the appropriate way that fits what we have. Do we need to change it? Do we not need to change it? What level of standards do we have?
Yeah, and they all need to be looked at. I don't think we should be looking at one without looking at the whole, because the roads down there are a challenge.
And this select board has a has a track record for doing that when an issue comes up. If it's effective in a larger area, we always look at the larger area.
Yeah.
Or the larger rate each time. So I think it's good to continue that practice.
Mary, Mary Jo had a question.
Oh, Mary Jo, I'm sorry, I can't see you, Eric.
Wanted to raise for dozen years of the Council on Aging when this issue came up. And for us, a real concern and sticking point was the fact that although we're talking about, it's nice to talk about the group as a whole, and the Council on Aging really supports that. We were kind of worried about the way that Ron's situation was for him as an individual and as an elder in the town. And we really haven't heard anyone at any point address the question that he did ask, which was, why was he singled out to be not plowed after he had been plowed for so long? And I don't think that that question has really ever been adequately answered. And for me, the thought that for whatever reason, the town could stop such an important service in the middle of the winter when there's very little way to have recourse. It just sets up, to me, it sets up a concern in the way it sets up a trust issue. Because I'm thinking, well, this could have happened to anyone. This could have happened to another person that was not as capable as Ron. He knew how to come and he knew how to raise his issue and he was very articulate. But if at some point in the middle of the plowing season, someone just decides, oh, you know, this is too bad for my truck, I'm not going to do it anymore. And that person has been contracted with the town, has been doing it consistently for years. And then that is just left to drop. It just doesn't build confidence for me as someone who's dependent on plowing. To me, that's a worry. And I'm not telling you how to address it, but I'm just saying that having not spoken to it at all at this point, it makes me feel a little bit uneasy. Like we could just gloss over that. And like I said,
I don't think
that was a big issue.
I don't think we're glossing over. I know Haley had brought it to us individually and she wrote letters and all of that. So it was still addressed. Kind of ongoing, but everything that we had, the document said that first telephone pole, that first knoll, and the contractor may or may not have gone beyond what his assignment was, you know, so we don't to plow the area. So, you know, there's multiple facets that are at play here. So we have to back up and we have to start at the beginning step. And so this is where we have to, where it is the best place to start to make sure that in the end, the services are given in an appropriate way that aligns with state law, aligns with the owners of the roads, which is the Lake Association, and that those partners are coming and helping address the situation too. Because there's multiple elders that live down in that area as well. So, you know, it's a much broader way to look at it. So I think that's what the best step we could go to.
You know, one thing we could look at is, you know, the town has to have, in the policy we have now, the town reserves the right to cease plowing.
It does, yeah.
There are no stipulations really to that. That is something we could look at in making revisions. But it is important that we retain that right because the liability to the town, if we weren't able to do that, is great. You know, it's tricky. I know a lot of TAs have I'm not saying we should do this. I know a lot of TAs in their communities have moved away from plowing of private roads in its entirety. But I don't think we want to do that. And I don't think that's the right way. But I think that there are ways that we can strengthen things that make it clearer for the town and for residents what is expected and what are the parameters. Because as this is written right now, it doesn't really have anything like that. There's nothing, you know, we can only move forward. We can't go back and we can't change 36 years. We can't change 6 months ago, a year ago. We can just make policy changes that make sense and that clearly outline what is expected for all parties and do the assessment.
Like one last point.
One last, and then we do have to move on.
So the person that didn't want to plow the road was hired by Lake Wyola Association in November to prepare the road for plowing. So let's look at that hiring, and we still don't have the answer to why it was stopped. And I was told in correspondence with the town administrator, there was an assessment about all this damage to the truck. I asked for a copy of the assessment, there was none. I asked for the details of the assessment, there wasn't. The assessment that happened 2 months after the plowing stopped, and we still do not have an answer for why that happened. And why I wasn't even informed about it happening, to wake up on New Year's Day in the middle of a snowstorm and suddenly it stopped. And I don't say anyway that that's okay. Sorry.
And then something, maybe we just look into that, what occurred there, you know, that's, but
Yeah,
I
I think,
still think the overall assessment's the best option.
yes, I think that is the best option. I think that there was a report that there was some issue with the plow driver's vehicle. That's what necessitated it. But again, if you go back to policy, it states that it ends effectively at that point. So whether or not the service continued is, I mean, it's two separate issues. Was there a service? And if you talk to Tim Hunting and if you talk to, Steve Sullivan, they never plowed it. But if you talk to other people, they did plow it. I don't know what's right. I was born 35 years ago, so I have no idea what the history is. But I do know that what we have now is not workable and that can be fixed. And I do know that an assessment needs to happen. How they fixed a road, if there wasn't an assessment to tell them what to fix, I don't know. I don't know those answers. But I do know that we can start the slate clean and move forward and hopefully prevent all of this from going forward.
And that's why.
And the only thing I would add, I think the point is well taken, that if there, is a substantive change in service, that people should be notified.
Oh, yeah.
So
Right.
that you don't. Nobody's taken by surprise
Yeah, right.
or having to make arrangements in the middle of winter for getting plowed. I mean, I have somebody who comes and plows our driveway. So, but that's a standing,
And I did Lady Slipper and ours decided
Yeah.
it was done.
Okay.
So, let's move on. Haley, you've got the action points for that. Yeah, that particular thing. So let's keep that going on our, maybe in the updates, if you have updates. Yeah, and some of that stuff, we'll keep it on our radar.
Just make sure it won't get boring.
No, we don't want it to. We want to keep it going and some excitement. And then the next item is the personnel handbook.
Yeah, we've all been through this. Yes, again. Yeah, thank you, Haley, for all your hard work and the updates from town meeting.
Those are in there.
Incorporated.
There's a couple other things that I think need to be included, but I just wanted to get the bulk of it approved because it really, we have an updated social media use policy for town employees, which I think is really important to have. And so this will lay out all the things that are important.
I do appreciate all of it, but I really appreciate this backwork here. So when you do hand them a.
Yes.
Acknowledgement forms.
Personnel files, right?
Yes, yeah, that's.
So,
received it.
and I think, a paper copy to each person.
Yep, I think we're gonna have to print that and, and just to kind of go quickly over, so it has
Yes, please.
4 policies of the town: conflict of interest, ethics, disability accommodations, the employee life cycle, right? So the hiring, the onboarding as an employee, and then separation, hopefully always positive, but not always the case. Compensation, benefits, and leave. And then we talk a lot about unpaid versus paid leave and all the different, there are new legal classifications for leave that have been included in here. We go a lot of detail over workplace policies and conducts. Probably boring for anyone who's not really nerdy about HR, but it is really interesting. Putting in a complaint process for town staff so that if they have an issue, they know how to address it. Putting in a policy on how to do amendments to this policy and who can do those amendments. And then at the back, there's some of the court forms that people might have to fill out, the acknowledgement, and then KP Law had given us a draft of their social media use policy, so that's pretty robust, I think. Not something that we previously had. So
That's in here. I missed
Yeah,
that.
yeah, it's on page
it's
50.
it's I did it as a standalone policy.
Uh-huh.
So it's down on.
I feel like that one would change a lot based on the ever-changing social media.
Yeah, right.
Starts on page 58.
Yep,
It's
yep, I get
pretty long from there. And then KP Law also has that I have to augment draft use policies for artificial intelligence use and for tuition reimbursement. So some towns have put in stipulations like if they pay for your police academy, that within X number of years of employment, you give it back either at full or depreciating percentage.
Degree of some sort,
Yeah.
like that.
You know, it can not always be easy to get that money, but at least you have it on the books.
And I think that's, from what I've had in multiple places, that's, you know, you had to stay with so many years, and yeah, I think it's standard, you know.
Yep. And this will be a working document. I mean, once
Yeah,
we
yeah.
start
Yeah.
using it, then.
Oh, we
think, yes,
yes, no, it is.
Yeah.
And it should be, it should,
Needs to be tweaked or whatever, but
yeah, probably after a year or so. that
Yeah.
It's been in, like, it should. be,
yeah, how
you
it's,
know,
yeah.
Has Donna gone over this? No.
No, KP Law did. There are.
Okay,
yeah,
we are.
she put
Okay.
his this to that.
Okay, good. Well, and I'm just somebody,
Yeah.
somebody that's a jurist who's
They looked it over, they had a couple minor edits, so those are done. You know, I have the ability to make non-substantive changes, just like if I made a spelling mistake or something. But then, like I said, there is a policy, so if we had to have something, there's a step for that.
Well, thank you for
great.
doing
It
it.
was great.
Yes,
Thanks a lot.
I know the personnel committees.
Yes, we were trying to work on that and it fell to one person.
That's
Yeah.
really.
Right.
And one person had the,
Got a full-time.
like Rita, when she had said something about it, one person had the passion, just not the time.
Yeah, I think it's funny to note that the initial one that I was given is like 30 pages and this is 77.
Yeah.
So it's
The initial one we were given, the one I sent you?
like that little packet.
Oh, no, I mean, when there was not even half pages. That wasn't even, it was like not even
That's true.
10 pages long.
Right.
We've beefed it up.
And from 1990,
Right, yeah.
updated in 2012. It served.
First one.
Yeah.
More than.
Yes.
Yeah, right. My only criticism would be to
But it was
what
three
date.
basis though.
Is it dated somewhere?
It will be,
Effective, well, we'll have an effective date once we
we'll put
vote.
a effective
Okay.
date on the,
Yeah.
Good, good. good.
like, maybe voted it or whatever, or
Right.
thing is.
So I'm going to make a motion that we approve the new Town of Shutesbury Personnel Handbook.
Second.
Before, I just want to tell Haley, thank you very much from Personnel Board and from Select Board.
Yes.
And all of our employees for helping with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
All those in favor,
Farrell, I.
Stalker, I.
make peace, Sonia, lie. And then we have PFAS project.
Yes, so I was in contact with Ty and Bond because we're almost at the end of our service contract, and what they had offered us as a 3-year extension was 106,000, give or take a year for the next 3 years. A lot of money.
Yeah.
There's some changes in regards to like sampling and testing that is in there, but it's not a substantial difference from what we're currently doing. So I had said to them, you know, you're gonna need to procure that. That's not something that we can just sign off on, particularly this late in the game. So we'll have to start that process. But in the meantime, there are services that we need to continue. So they are drafting for us a 4-month extension with a 2-month renewal option. So that at least buys us up to 6 months of services just to maintain what we're doing. And then we can, in that time, be going through the procurement process and hopefully get some more competitive bids. And I had thought to also check in with other TAs in the area to see if maybe we could do some like group bidding.
Oh, that's a nice.
Because I know this impacts other
Everybody,
communities as
yeah.
well, so that might be an option we could pursue. But that, I just wanted to let you know that was the price tag. I would expect that we'll see some, you know, a reduction with a shorter extension, but it's gonna be a substantial cost.
It has been from the start. So,
Does that include all the testing and everything? Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a package deal, a package.
And that $100,000 is for what period of time?
That would
Year.
just be for one fiscal year, and then it would be about the same amount of money for the next year.
I thought you said it's.
Yeah,
Yeah, right.
yeah.
But let me make sure.
That's not the next 3 years?
No.
No.
Um,
Okay.
so yeah,
Yes, I said months ago, this is just this PFAS thing is I swear to God, it is gonna be the thing that, whatever, the
Yeah.
bane of this town for a long time.
And some larger communities that have water treatment plants are putting in PFAS filtration systems
Hmm.
on there and that's expensive. Yeah.
Was the federal government changing the guidelines? I've heard that there was some.
not that I know of.
We should
right
check.
now.
Oh,
Yeah.
Surprised I've decided it's good for you or something.
Yeah, quite.
Builds character.
Instead of 3/4.
I did
Right.
talk to a water treatment person, very briefly about it, and he said there's far more harmful things in municipal this
Water.
This is
Yeah.
not our situation, but it's their situation in their water. That is a much bigger issues. So what that means, I don't know. I
Yeah,
did,
right.
I didn't want to ask.
No, don't
I
ask.
was curious. I didn't
Ask,
ask.
don't tell.
And then we have our Rita Farrell public thank you.
Yes, thank you.
So you're very,
So I'm gonna go get something.
okay. I have something I want to read.
I'm gonna read this card. This says, thank you, Rita. Love the whole town.
Well, well, I need to read something into the record as soon as I'll make it fast. I'll read fast.
Need
Where'd
tissues?
Melissa go?
You want
Yes.
I need a drink.
You said you're gonna read something to the left.
This is for after the adjourn, Rita.
Oh, that's so beautiful.
Wow.
Thank you. You didn't make that, did you?
I wish I was, but no.
Okay, so I want to read this. During my 6 years on the select board, there have been challenging times and even points at which I contemplated resigning. But alas, I made it through and want to focus on what has made me feel grateful over the last 6 years. First and foremost, it has been serving the two extremely capable and committed fellow board members. Melissa, you always manage to help find a path even through difficult times and with a smile and enthusiasm that is so appreciated. And Eric, you always manage to ask the right questions, keep us on course, and add some humor to boot. You two have made my time on this board a real pleasure, and I am honored to have both of you as friends. Board and committee members, there are many unsung heroes in this community, most notably those volunteers who week in and week out serve on town boards and committees. I know from personal experience that they can at times be thankless jobs. No pay, no dinner time, grief from a select few, but you are so important to the workings of this community and help make Shutesbury the wonderful community that it is. Townspeople. During the most tumultuous times during my time on the select board, I was buoyed by the support and kindness of people in town who took the time to express their appreciation for my commitment and work. You don't know how much that meant to me, and it helped to sustain me through the rough patches. Town staff. We have an amazing team in Town Hall. Ellen, Jeanette, Gail, Devin and Curtis, Leslie, and offsite, Dave and Lenny, and our firefighters, highway staff too. I'm so grateful for their commitment and always for striving to do their best for Shutesbury. Public employees don't enjoy many of the perks or recognition that you get in the private sector, but they deserve our thanks for always serving in the town's best interest. Singling out two staff members who I work with most closely, first Brennan, you've been such a huge asset to the town hall team. Your organizational skills and your ability to bring order to chaos has been such a gift. And always with a smile on your face. Your work on staffing the MN Spear Committee was such a huge help to me. Haley, I feel like we won the lottery when we hired you. Your tenacity, eagerness to learn, and attention to detail are just a few of the things that have made you a wonderful town administrator. So many good things have happened under your watch, and for that I am so grateful. You make this select board's job so much easier with your excellent organizational skills, sense of humor, and brains. And finally, to show my appreciation to the board. Oh, can you run in the other room and grab that bag for me?
Yeah.
So I don't have to leave. I have a few things. No, in there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, that.
yeah, actually, let me get both things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, well, absolutely. Yeah, no. Sure.
I just want to know, I'm really bad at reading lips, so never try that with me.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm horrible at reading lips.
I look at people, I'm like, I have no idea.
Body language is different.
I do.
Oh.
Okay, you know what it is.
Yeah.
It's yeah.
Aw, thank you.
So I have some things that I wanted to leave with the board to show my appreciation. And I'll unload them because I have something to say about each one of them. Oh, okay, bye, Penny. Yeah. First of all, I have some nuts. When you think you're gonna go nuts with personnel issues, too much water over the dam or too much PFAS, have a few nuts.
I like it.
Next, I have some. Hold on. I should have had these layered properly. I have some lifesavers. And things seem to be going down the tubes. Please help yourself to some lifesavers. At least they'll make your mouth feel fresh.
All right.
I have some kind bars when you're
Ah.
feeling really aggravated and maybe a little feisty, getting ready to say something you shouldn't. Have yourself a kind bar. If nothing else, it will kick up the protein in your system. And then I have some Hershey's Nuggets. Sometimes you know the answer is out there and you're just looking for those little nuggets of information in the vast sea of information. These tasty little treats will help nourish you as you search.
Right.
Oh, I forgot. When things get really zooey, you have some animal crackers in little packets, lots of them. And last but not least, during these tough fiscal times, keep these 100 grand in your back pocket to help fill those budget gaps that seem to pop up
And that was a theme to
every year.
100 grand.
Yeah, 100 grand.
That's how we pay for feedback.
There's many of them.
Yeah, I like
Each
that.
Like at least $1 million. So there you go. I know I brought food. And now you have some food. You gotta put it in a safe place so the mice don't get it.
Yes.
We'll do that. Casey could be the keeper, so she can parcel it out. There we go.
That's nice. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So I think it's appropriate for us to say thank you to Rita.
Yes, it is. It's
But
very
you already
appropriate.
did.
Well, yeah, but I don't think we'd be able to thank you enough for all that you've done for Shrewsbury, certainly. But I know I have grown working with you, and the things that we accomplished were quite some big things.
Yeah.
And
Did.
so all of that was I really liked our team, and Rita, you were definitely a great team member. Fantastic to work with, and I'm going to miss you
Oh, yeah.
very much.
Yeah.
I didn't know Rita much prior to this. I mean, our paths had crossed a little bit, but not, but this definitely, and like you said, I think friends, and while we don't always agree, we're able to, the three of us always were able to find a spot where we could easily vote.
I think we
You know?
voted unanimously in maybe one or two things we did.
There's only a couple of
Yeah.
things, but but we always got to.
Well,
It was a
I don't know.
good discussion.
That's good or bad, but
We respected each other's
Yeah.
opinions, and I appreciate all of that, and certainly Rita, your service, and Michael's sharing of you.
yeah, great.
There is an family impact. People
That's
don't
right. There's a
understand
family
what that is.
Yes.
But
Yep.
but there is, and I appreciate him for allowing you to serve as long as you did.
I will let him
To-
know.
Yeah, my heartfelt thank you to him.
No,
Eric, you're-
just I ditto.
Is it ditto?
But by the way, I want a copy of that thing. A year from now, I can read the.
Copy too. Like, different kind of food.
Yeah, I'll do that part. That's physical jokes. I'll do that part. But, no, I feel very honored to have worked with Rita, both on the finance committee for years. And then, so I can honestly say that we've been doing this for a couple of decades.
Yeah.
But good, bad,
I'm still
different.
maybe.
But, just that's, and same thing. I've just learned an incredible amount and I'm always impressed, like, how does Rita know that? But someone, well, she says, oh, well, you can't do that, so-and-so, whatever. How does she know that? I don't understand that, because I'm like always hiding in the back, like, I don't want to, whatever.
Yeah.
I agree. She's gonna be very, Jim, he's still listening, Jim. Poor Jim has to listen to all this. But, yeah, no, it's gonna be harder in some ways, right, initially to work with someone other than you. That's all.
We got your number.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we get the number.
Yeah.
Oh, there's Jim. He's not afraid to, he's live in person.
Yeah, make sure I get her number too, Rita.
Yeah,
Is it-
Yeah, right. True.
Yeah, after all this, you guys, Melissa and Eric, it's downhill from here.
That's
After
right.
hearing all this.
No, this is it. You're looking
You got your work cut out for
It's
you.
the high,
Bring it-
the high
Bringing,
point.
high
bringing me,
point.
bringing me up to speed.
Yeah,
Mhm.
don't worry about it.
Yeah, I think we'll have fun, Jim.
Oh, I
No,
think
we
I'm
can do
looking,
it.
no,
Well-
seriously, I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward
Yeah,
to
yeah.
working with you, Melissa. You're looking forward to work with you, Eric.
yeah, no, I
And,
agree. You too.
yeah.
Back at you.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it, definitely. Would anybody else want to say anything would you like to, Gail? Okay. Gail would like to. I'll see. Okay.
I'd like to give a hearty shout out to this particular select board. These three people have shown real teamwork over the past 6 years, balanced in dealing with matters both large and small, and showing openness and respect to the persons coming before the board. I would like especially to acknowledge Rita for her clear-sighted and firm leadership of management. I mean, it shows in challenging off the fractions at times. Our town's administration is and has been in the hands of competent and conscientious community members, and I am grateful for it.
Thanks, Gail.
Thank you. That's nice.
Tom, did you want to say anything about this moment?
I'm very grateful for Rita's service. I learned a lot from Rita. Whatever I said that. I would be really grateful. I don't know what your goals are now that you'll be free of this. I don't know if you're into the artistic side, but if you ever offer like a memoir, any form, written, visual, it would be very interesting document. I'm sure it would be valuable and so.
That's an idea.
Thank you.
And I'll just open up to anyone else on the screen who want to say thank you or give a thought or two. Raise your hand. Okay. No need.
I'll say thank you. I don't know what strings you pulled to make it such an exciting first year. Thank you for all the learning opportunities I've had.
Yeah.
I still have your phone number.
Yeah.
We'll be
Yeah.
reaching out.
You were the string, Haley.
Little did you know what you're stepping
So
into.
exciting. But thank you.
You're welcome.
So let's move on to the town administrator report.
Back to follow. All right, quick updates. Save the date for the Massachusetts Water Resources Authority Board meeting on July 10th, because it will be taking place in the Quabbin area, perhaps Belchertown, we're not sure. But this will be an opportunity for people, we would like to have a good, healthy presence to talk about Quabbin equity. Joe Comerford will be there, other legislators will be there. And if the select board and, obviously we'll have more details as the plans get finalized.
Do they know what time yet or no?
Not yet.
Yeah, their goal, the committee's goal is to, so as I could tell, us get as many people there from as many
Yeah.
committees as we can.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Because,
So did you say?
It's July 10th, yeah. So it'll be, and that is the decision-making body that regulates a lot of the pricing and, all the fairness issues. That'll be an opportunity. Speaking of water, Lake Wyola, it's almost at its full summer level. It's
Yeah.
bigger and bigger every day. We have to send photos to GZA, so it's really nice to get, you know, a little snapshot of where we are. The school oil tank, so I signed the disposal package, and there's an extra step where there has to be some you have to log into like a mass site and also sign off on it. But once that gets accepted by the facility, hopefully we'll be that much closer to getting it off site and out of our lives, for at least for now. And then finally, my update is hopefully most people know that our post office is still in service.
Oh my,
And we're very happy about that. And a big thank you to everyone who advocated. And
you had a lot to do with
Yeah,
that.
that's it.
it was very fun.
And can we get a letter to our legislators from the select board?
I will have a letter for you to sign. I just didn't get a chance to finish it today, but we will have that because I want to do one for the legislators. And then also LifePath had been a big advocate for us. Yeah.
So you did a very good segue.
Yes, yay,
because
Haley.
there is a thank you. Yes. When the news went around that
Oh, I love it.
that's that the post office was potentially closing. I think there was a little bit of what? A little people were a little paralyzed at that moment.
That
which
was
you
last
took-
Friday, right, or something, sick.
Whatever
last,
Yeah, exactly.
noon or whatever time it goes.
Yeah.
And so you took that on and said, not in Shutesbury. And you started organizing top to bottom, and you got everybody out on the common and letters and phone calls and all the way up the chain to all the way up to the top. And so we want to thank you for.
Oh, well, I told I wanted to sign this, but they couldn't come tonight.
So I'll leave it in my office.
Yeah.
And I appreciate it. Everyone helped, but I know, but you know.
Yes, cheerleader.
It's true.
You're the cheerleader.
We're it.
And I was very proud to tell Scott, we are 2-0 for post office closures in the town of Shutesbury. They've not
They've tried it. Right. They've tried it before.
So,
But it's for you. So
Thank
here's
you.
for And thank you
Love it.
very much.
There is something in it.
cool.
Um,
That was some of the best news I got this week was.
And it's an issue in town that was not a dividing, it was actually one that brought the two together.
It was really nice. We had a lot of.
Haven't had that. 1 second, Jim, we haven't had an issue that was more encompassing.
It was great.
And it was.
I was so
well done.
amazed by all the letters and all the
Yeah.
phone calls, and even our legislators made comments about how organized we were and on top of it. And it was really great. And I'm proud to have been a part of keeping that service open because I was, they're not taking our post office.
Okay.
It's a compliment.
There.
Oh, there you are, Jim. Go ahead.
Oh, I just wondered, are cake and gifts always a big part of these meetings? These
Yeah.
select board meetings?
Yeah.
Okay, okay, I'm all in.
Yeah.
There's usually some snack on the table.
Yeah, the new guy has to bring it for the first year.
Oh.
You have some for a few meetings anyway.
I love those gifts where each thing has a that's great. So is there anything else that we need to cover? Oh, there is one thing that Haley brought to me before.
Oh, yes.
As part of her update is we have the Community Preservation Act grant agreement for Elliott Park Committee. And so this is the grant agreement that does pay for. I'm looking for exactly the purpose. The grant award, they got a grant award for restoration and repair of the structures. So we just need to sign that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, part of your thing, I didn't. So do I have a motion to sign the Community Preservation Act grant agreement for Elliott Park Committee?
So, and this is what was voted by town meeting.
Yeah.
And we do the agreement in order to make sure that whoever's receiving the grant knows they have 3 years to.
Guidelines,
complete.
everything.
It's a standard agreement form that we've used before.
Second,
Okay. All those in favor,
Farrell, I.
Stalker, I.
make peace O'Neill. Aye.
I'm gonna have to learn how to say something other than.
I know you are. Absolutely.
I appreciate the long line.
I know, I was signing all the warrants and I realized there's no room here left for you to sign.
That's okay, I find
I
it.
got a name like that's that long and
You
yours.
just need one
Wow.
signature, or you need 3. Okay.
Okay,
Oh,
so do I hear a motion to adjourn?
so moved.
Second,
Our last time.
All those in favor?
Farrell, I
Dr. I.
Makepeace O'Neill, I.
should have made you make a
All right.
motion.
No, I know, I